One of the biggest trends right now that I've seen is remote leadership. So, and if you look back at 24, and let's look back at 24, there's been like political changes. I think there were 60 country elections in 24. Crazy. A lot of societal changes, a lot of technological changes. Countries restricting immigration, making it hard to get visas, and all of this kind of stuff that's been going on. And so, if you're a leader in a company that is global, let's say you're leading a global team, maybe you're leading a fully remote team, but either way, you have team members all over the place. Like leadership in that scenario is like difficult, I think. Many leaders I'm speaking to have struggled with it. It's difficult, right? Like you're leading people in different countries, different societies, different wants, needs, desires, different politically. There's just so many things going on. So I think some of the best leaders right now are those that are able to understand like cultural differences. They're able to communicate effectively with people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, and also include people, right? Because again, like everyone talks about building culture, and how do you do that if they're not coming in and playing foosball, or you can't give them the free snacks, or like some of them are coming in, but some of them are in like a remote place, like 9 hours away, different time zone. You're like, oh my God, how do you do all that? So all of these things are really important to nail down. So if you're a leader, I think the best leaders and the ones that will get promoted and the ones that will get hired and the ones that people will follow and the ones that people will recommend and all of that are the ones that are able to effectively lead global teams through change and through like whatever craziness is coming up in the world. So I want to give you a few tips. I lead a global team. We're fully remote. I speak with leaders from some of the biggest and best companies on the planet, some of the best mid-sized firms, or people like me who are running boutique, smaller firms all over the world. So anyway, we all have the same kind of challenges. And I'm in the privileged position to be able to speak with these people. And so I'm going to distill some of the stuff that the best ones do and a few tips and tactics. If you're struggling with it, and many are, you can try these things. So firstly, communication. I'm going to just kick off with that is the most important thing. And I always say, like, if you can talk to your team about unimportant stuff, whatever it might be, when it comes to talking about big things, you already have open lines of communication. And I see leaders that have open lines of communication with team members, wherever they are in the world, are much better, and they can whether it's change, whether it's like organizing projects, whatever it is, they're able to communicate much more effectively. So that's one thing. Communicating now also is done on so many different like levels, channels, whether it's like getting your free messaging on Slack, whether it's having a video call, whether it's having a phone call, email, meeting in person, recording a video, social media, whatever it is. But again, like people communicate in many, many different ways. And so being skilled at communicating in all of these different channels is massive. Because, we've all been there, right? Like you've messaged a teammate on like, and you've read the message and you're like, what? Like, I can't believe they would say that to me. And then you're thinking about it all night. You're like, can't believe they were so rude. They're like, send me this message. And you end up speaking in the morning. And actually, they didn't actually mean what you've interpreted, because you missed the context of like how you say it, not necessarily what they've said. So anyway, my point to that is you need to be very skilled at communicating in writing on the chats. Many people now communicate probably more on chat and messaging than they do face to face or on video or telephone, right? But you've got to be able to do all of it. So as a leader, you need to be skilled at communicating. Also, like societal changes, like cultural differences. People do different things in different parts of the world. And so if you're hoping to lead a global team, run a global company, you need to be mindful. You need to learn about cultural differences. You need to understand how people like to interact, and whether it's different different religious cultures, or like just the ways of doing things in different places is important. And you need to be respectful, mindful, and again, if you get that right, you build a relationship with someone. And again, it's kind of, for me, comes back to like being able to communicate effectively with people from like all different walks of life. And if you're able to do that, if you have some common ground, then suddenly you can build up a good relationship. And when you can build up a good relationship with someone, you can do amazing things. I think it was like, I'm going to like butcher his quote, but I think one of Simon Sinek's quotes always resonates with me. It's like, if you look after your team, everything else takes care of itself, that kind of thing. So if you have teammates all around the world that are really happy because you're taking an interest in them, you understand what's going on in their life, in their country, these kind of things, you build up good rapport, they're happy, they do their best work. So I think that's really important. I see a lot of people do that. I see a lot of people, they don't do that good enough, and they sometimes don't even think about it. So spend time doing that, and you're going to end up with a huge benefit. So there's some of the things I would do. I hope you found that useful, and see you soon.